Hey, what's going on? It's Mando Crusader, and welcome to something just a little bit different. Not too different, but a little bit different. Today we're looking at another deck in Magic the Gathering Arena that I put together. It is a Delver list, a Delver of Secrets list. However, this list is more of a test. So this deck is in no way optimized. You just need to look at the mana base to figure that out. It doesn't even have a sideboard, but it's sort of a first draft for what I think is probably the best way to get Delver of Secrets to work in Historic. And I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to sort of see, like, a little bit of, like, the testing process that, like, I put through decks that I create while I sort of am, like, brainstorming them. And, seeing where, like, the finished, optimized decks come from. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be playing some matches in the play queue, seeing if the, at the very least, the theory behind this deck is solid. Seeing if this has potential or not. And, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So this deck is basically Izzet aggro with a little bit of mid-game potential in our counter spells. The game plan is to get Delver of Secrets out, get Dragon's Rage Channeler out, flip them as soon as humanly possible, activate Delirium for Dragon's Rage Channeler, flip Delver of Secrets, and just have a bunch of 1-mana, 3-power creatures on the battlefield. Maybe a decently sized Sprite Dragon as well. Kill your opponent as quickly as possible, counter their spells, and play the card advantage game to win the game. There are only 14 creatures in this deck. 4 copies of Delver, 4 copies of Channeler, 4 copies of Sprite Dragon, and 2 copies of Beaumont Courier to help activate Delirium. Everything else in this deck, besides the lands, are instants and sorceries. Actually, like, half the deck, literally, is instants and sorceries. And that's by design. The idea I had was to just play a critical mass of instants and sorceries in order to increase the chance of flipping Delver as soon as possible, because, I mean, he's kind of useless as a 1/1, right? You want him to be the 3/2 flyer. So, we have a lot of ways we have a lot of sorceries and instants to flip it with. And we have a lot of ways to get those, like, in the right spot. Obviously, the big one being Otherworldly Gaze. This is a new card from Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and it's absolutely amazing from this perspective. It's literally just 1-mana Surveil 3, and then you can flash it back for 1 and a blue. It's cheap. It's effective. You can use this to set up, like, draw a Delver 1 turn that you can play, and then the next turn, you're guaranteed to have an instant or sorcery on top of the deck for you to transform it the next turn. You can usually use this to sort of curate your deck and set up your draws. We also have Consider, for that card advantage, and again, just possibly putting cards into the graveyard to activate Delirium. Faithless Looting, I don't think needs any introduction. Expressive Iteration for card advantage. And of course we have our counter spells. You got 2 copies of Spell Pierce, 2 copies of Memory Lapse, and 4 copies of Lofty Denial. Which is surprisingly good in this deck, considering ideally all of our creatures besides Beaumont Couriers have flying. So, That's a really nice card. We also have Unholy Heat, because if you're running Delirium in any form, you run Unholy Heat. It's just it's almost a premier red removal spell at this point. The mana base is really scuffed. We're not going to talk about it. This is in no way what the actual, like, mana base will be once testing is over. So, yeah, and one really nice thing about this deck is it's very, very not wild card heavy. There are only, like, not counting the mana base again, there are only 6 rares in this deck. The 2 Beaumont Couriers, the 2 Faithless Looting, and the 2 Memory Lapse. So, really, this is a cheap deck that you could try out yourself. You guys could try to optimize it. Additionally, if you have any suggestions for this deck, please put them in the comments. Like I said, this is just the first draft. I'm probably going to be making another video on a more optimized version of this deck down the line. So, please leave your suggestions in the comments. Additionally, if you'd like to see more content like this, just me testing decks that aren't really that optimized and are sort of first drafts, leave a like and comment that as well. Also, just subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I appreciate it. So, that's the deck. There really isn't much to it. It's basically just, Izzet spells matter aggro, I guess is the portmanteau I could use to describe this. So, let's get in a couple games, see if this theory, as it were, holds weight, and see if this is any good. Alright. Alrighty. Let's see here. Decent opening hand. Pretty good opening hand, actually. Put out our turn 1 Delver. If it lives, which it does not. Put out our Beaumont Courier instead. Spell Pierce the Meat of the Massacre. I don't want to deal with that. Put out our Dragon's Rage Channeler. We already have 2 for Delirium. Nightmare Shepherd. I would like to see that Expressive Iteration, actually. As we build up our card advantage with Beaumont Courier, we can crack that at any time from something more advantageous. I think we may just do that this turn. Oh, we can consider. That there. And there is Delirium activated. With Lofty Denial powered up as well. Try the Crippling Fear again. Fabled Passage in an island, probably. Maybe consider. Grab a Sprite Dragon. And we'll end the turn. I don't think we'll be able to stop whatever board wipe he has this time. Infernal Grasp on the Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's fine. Relatively fine, at least. Especially because of that. Two life cost. And that would be game right there. Alright. So that worked out pretty well. It helped that we were playing against a pretty slow black deck, but even so, that was pretty good. All right. All right. Let's see here. Decent hand. Be better if these were steam vents. But, what can you do? Delver, and a Vermont career, please. Cycling in Orzhov colors. Got our Sprite Dragon. And hope for the best, I guess. As we grow it with our otherworldly gaze. Let's see, what's in our graveyard? Just the Delver. Definitely want to put the Mountain in there. And I think we want to put the Unholy Heat in there, too. I think Spell Pierce may be more useful than Unholy Heat at the moment. Flourishing Fox getting cycled. Shatter to the Sky, there it is. Just quickly Spell Pierce that. Grab Express Iteration. No! I didn't, I misclicked. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Don't look at me. Oh gosh, don't look at me. That was a mistake. Let's see. Doom Foretold. I'm not feeling that. And at this point, we've got basically a whole hand, a whole brand new hand underneath our Beaumont Courier. Kaya's Wrath. And we can just grab a Spell Pierce for that. And I think that's game. Yep. Alright, good stuff. Very good stuff. Beaumont Courier is extremely good in this deck. Yeah, this deck, when you get the right opening hand, it really runs like clockwork. And it has a really low mana curve, too, so as you can see, you don't need that many lands. Alright. Okay. No creatures, but we do have ways to search for them. And we're on the draw. Looks like we've got a mono red gamer over here. Let's see, I think we're definitely going to want to leave some mana up. Well, there goes one of our considers, I suppose. Let's see, we're going to need to get a creature soon, because the Annex is coming out this turn. Or the Fervent Champion, I suppose. Oh, there's our dragon. There's our creature that we need. I think this game's already lost. As our opponent uses my card, which is mine and not his. I feel like I'm back in a pre-rotation standard. I would look at that card in my graveyard, yes. Alright, good stuff all around. I would like to order my draws just like that. And no, not my Beaumont Courier. Definitely not. We've got our next two draws lined up quite perfectly. Although they probably have Frostbite in there. But it shouldn't have used all of his mana. And we don't want to risk them playing Thorban again. Or Torban. We want to keep some mana open for our memory lapse. Just in case they have a cleave, or they have the frostbite. Which is probably coming right now. Any second now. They're skipping to combat. Interesting. Well, we're not blocking. There's Embercleave. I knew it was coming. I knew it was in his hand. He probably has the frostbite next. Ah, Bone Crusher Giant. Let's see. Yeah, that's game. Especially with Cleave next turn. Yep. Okay, so that exposed a pretty big weakness with this. If our opponent is also playing aggressively with a lot of creatures, we can't really do much, especially if we don't draw our creatures ourselves. That is a pretty big weakness. Alright, so that was my first attempt at Izzet Delver. I think we gathered some valuable information. I think what needs to happen is I shouldn't lean into aggro. I don't think this sort of deck is meant to be an aggro deck. Well, we did have that one match where I think it was the first one that we aggroed pretty decently. Especially against creature decks, that kind of doesn't work, I've noticed. So I think we need to transform into something a bit more controlling, maybe a bit more mid-rangey. I don't think going full-on control is the answer. But yeah, so we got some weaknesses. If we figured out some weaknesses, also in creature matchups, Spell Pierce is a dead card. So, that's something to take into consideration as well. That would probably be sideboarded out on the ladder. But yeah, so I think some valuable information was gained here. And I think that when I come back to this deck, because I am going to be coming back to this deck, it's going to be even better than this one, and hopefully the mana base will be less scuffed. So, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want more content like this, just testing out some spitball ideas I had for decks, let me know in the comments. Also, like the video. Let me know any suggestions that you have for this deck. What do you think could make this into a really good deck to get onto the ladder with? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe as well for more wonderful content, high quality content, and just to make me happy. So, yeah, that's about it, and see you around.